Hello there, and welcome to my channel. I am the Grab Bag Crafter. I just kind of do all kinds of crafts, but today I'm going to do a frame. And it's going to be a 5x7 frame, and all you'll need basically is cardboard from an Amazon box or something like that, and a couple of scraps from some of the frozen food boxes that you have, just small pieces. And your cardboard for your frame will need to be about 6 3/4 by 8 3/4. And you will draw an oval in your first piece. And I've already drawn the oval and I've already cut it out. So once you remove the oval, your next step will be to cover it with whatever paper you would like to cover it with, depending on what kind of picture it's going to be. And once you've cut out your paper and mitered your edges, then you have to score around where the oval will be. So this has been sprayed and scored, and now the careful part is to try to put the board neatly on the paper without messing it up. And I always mark whatever I'm doing. There's a little A on the board, and there's a little A on the paper. So I've got it down there and I've rubbed around to try to make sure it's nice and tight. So I'll fold my corners in, and I want to be sure that they're nice and tight too, so we don't have any lumpy bubbles, etc. So around and around I go, and we'll see how well my miters worked. Sometimes my miters are good, and sometimes my miters are, well, a little less than good. But it seems like they're working okay today. And after I get the miters down, yay, it looks pretty good. Now I have to fold in the scores I made around the oval. And sometimes that can be tough. Now I'll put a little A there just so I can remember and be sure that I have the top. Now when I go around these scores, I go all the way inside the oval and then lay them down gently and be sure that they are sticking to the other side. And sometimes if you don't press down tightly enough, you'll get one that kind of sits up and kind of distorts your oval. Oh, there we go. It worked. It looks pretty good. And the paper is kind of a vintage paper that I don't know, I just saw and I liked. So one of the things I've got to do next is cover the unsightly oval on the back. So I will find some paper that works for that. Now I've already cut a lot of these papers, so, well, to save time. And I just kind of have to fit it on, make sure it's okay. And once I turn it over, I will need to trace that oval pretty exactly, to trace around. Now, once I cut this out, I will cut a little bigger than what I actually drew, because I don't want any white from the paper to be shown on the other side. So I'll cut a little bit larger than the hole I drew. So we'll get that sprayed and cut out, and then there will be the fun part. Actually, the next part is to make the strap. I have to make the strap first because the strap is how I'm going to close the frame. And I have to attach the strap, which I will do with double-sided tape. Yeah, get that down. And I did cover the strap with 3M tape because I like for it to be, I don't know, kind of have a plasticky feeling to it. Now, let me carefully put this down. And sometimes, you know, when it has the glue on it, the spray glue on it, If one part gets down too fast, it can be discouraging, but looks like we've done a okay this time. So we're going to take our, actually this is a wallpaper smoother, spatula, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, next step is to just go on and cover our second side. And actually, that should be pretty easy. As you can see, I was going to do the oval on that one, but it was too hard to cut, so I chose to cut the oval on the other one. Now this is sprayed, and I'm going to kind of speed this up a little bit. I'm just doing the same thing I did the first time, just covering it and making sure it's down really well. And it looks like my miters are working fairly well, so it's a good day. So now all I have to do is make sure that's nice, smoothed and stuck, and yeah, okay. Looks like it's pretty good. Now I just have to put the inside lining on there and kind of get a good look. With this paper, these papers are very, very similar, and so either side could be the back or the front. After all, you're going to put a photograph in there anyway, so as similar as these papers are. And I am using this for my own use. Now, if I were going to make these for a craft show, I would probably definitely make sure that this side I'm holding right now would be the inside, and that this side would be the outside. So anyway, all right. Now that we've got our both of our boards covered, is the time to try to see how we can close it. Now before I adjust and put the magnets on there, I'm going to make a hinge. And what I do is I just make a plain old paper hinge, and it's pretty easy. And for that, I just used the scraps from the frozen food cardboard because it's thinner and you don't need a lot of bulk. You just need something that will kind of be flexible. So I've put these two together and I've left about maybe 1/8 of an inch between them. And I'm going to spray it, and we'll cut it out and then spray it. And so there it is, all cut out and sprayed. So let's fold these in, make it look nice and neat. And once it's all folded in, the part I will glue to the part I will attach to the two boards is of course the part that is not covered. So there it is, and you'll be able to see which way it bends. There, that's all it is. That's all the hinge is. So I'll put these two close together, probably a little closer than that, and I will glue the hinge down. I just have to make sure that I didn't get it so wide that it goes into the oval, and I didn't. So it's all glued in place now, and it's not wiggling around. So that is the hinge. And now we're going to see what happens when we try to get our magnet on. Now I had a little trouble trying to get the magnet on, primarily because I used the 3M tape on the hinge. And the 3M tape is so stiff that sometimes it's not, it resists the bend. And so I should have either not put that on or else just let it, made it more used to the bending. But anyway, all right, so I'm attaching the magnets, and I really should have had stronger magnets, but these were the magnets I had, so these are the magnets I used. I cut them both about the same size. I attached the first one to the belt, and then, this I should have done off camera, I am so sorry, but once I have it peeled, I will attach it to its mate, and then we will put them both down and give them a nice solid push and hope for the best. All right, so they're placed just fine. The problem is the magnets weren't quite strong enough. But never fear, I will simply attach a strap across the strap across the other strap, and that will hold them down and encourage the magnets to meet. So basically, that is our frame. And yeah, that's where I'll just put that strap in. You'll see it as I move along. Now this little frame is great for mailing. And when you get your kids' school pictures or whatever, this little frame is a nice, easy item to put inside an envelope and mail because it's nice and flat. Even the stand on the back is very flat, and it folds nicely. For this one, I like to use these little feet. So I'm using this little boy's picture for placement because that's the 5x7 that I happen to have. And these little picture holders from the good old days, I guess. Well, I'm still using them, so I guess these are pretty good days. Anyhow, that'll give placement, so the picture doesn't just slide down. And as you can see, I've attached a strap, and as I struggle mightily to get it through and over that magnet, there we go. All right, so it's holding it nicely. Looks pretty good. Kid is smiling. All right, okay. And I haven't done anything too terrible so far. All righty. Next step is to go ahead and come up with the stand. Basically, for the stand, I just use a rectangle that is about 2/3 or a little less than the height of the frame. And I will cover it with the paper just like the other ones. That's already sprayed. I think I accidentally sprayed my hand too, but anyway, you didn't need to know all of that. Okay, so this is our stand. Now, when I get ready to place the stand, I'm very careful to find the middle of the back of the frame, and I will lay the stand vertically, that way, and just because I'm going to want it to be pretty flexible. Okay, about there we are. And when I lay it down, I'm going to make sure it's about 1/4 of an inch or maybe even 3/8 of an inch up and not flush with the bottom. So pay attention to that if you ever do your stand this way. Make sure it's about 1/4 inch from the bottom and that it's a straight 90-degree angle before you put your tape. You saw the little star there. Be attentive to that. Now I am going to attach this with 3M tape. I kind of like 3M tape for my own personal frames. Now when I do these for a craft show or something, I would tape it, I would probably cover the hinge. I would hinge it the way I hinged the book so that it's covered with the paper and not, 3M tape. But 3M tape works just fine if you're mailing it to someone and it's a school picture. It's clear and I have no problems with 3M tape. I ain't mad at it. All right, so we want to make sure that it's nice and stuck on there, and as you can see, it stands up perfectly. I probably made this a little wider than I could have, but I don't know. It's just fine. So I'm going to make sure that my tape is in there solidly, and see how nicely it would lay down. So if it is to be mailed, it's an easy mailer. Next thing is to embellish, and I'm using the little people from the Tim Holtz collection. I really, really like his package of little people. He has all kinds of people from, I guess, 1920, from the early days. And in a separate pack, he has lots of little chipboard sayings and words. So since this paper is so busy, it doesn't really need a lot of embellishment, but it does need a little something. So out of Tim Holtz's collection, I have a boy and a dog, and I have a little chipboard sign that says, "Lucky is a state of mind." So I'm going to attach the little guy, and I will attach "Lucky is a state of mind," and we should be pretty much just about finished with our 5x7 frame. Great for mailing. Thank you for spending some time with me. I hope you enjoyed this project and that you will craft with me again.